Okay, Susan, firstly, can you explain to me what is emotional agility in a nutshell?
Emotional agility is our ability to be able to notice our inner world. So our thoughts, for example, am I good enough? Our emotions, for example, stress and anxiety. And the stories that we tell ourselves, what kind of relationship do I deserve? What kind of job do I deserve? And to notice those thoughts, emotions, and stories in ways that are curious, courageous, because sometimes they're difficult, and compassionate. And to not, however, let those emotions and thoughts and stories drive our actions. So instead, our actions land up being driven by our values, our intentions, and who we really want to be in the world, in every aspect of how we love, live, parent, and lead.
Okay, and you talked about the effect of when we become hooked on something. What did you mean by that?
So often what happens is we might have a thought, I'm not good enough, or I want to put my hand up for this job, but maybe I shouldn't. We often have thoughts, emotions, and stories, and we let those thoughts, emotions, and stories become directions. So instead of being able to say, the data in those, instead we start letting them rule us. So I've had the thought that I'm not good enough, I'm not going to put my hand up for this job, therefore I don't. And so when you're hooked, there's basically no space between your thought or your emotion. You treat it like a fact. And our thoughts and emotions are not fact. They're data, not directions. Who's in charge, the thinker or the thought?
Sure. And lastly, what is the strategy to building emotional agility? Is it a step-by-step process?
So what I talk about in my book, Emotional Agility, is 4 critical aspects of emotional agility. And they're not necessarily do this one thing and then this other thing, but they're 4 critical aspects. The first is being able to be with your thoughts and emotions, not push them aside, for example, in the service of, I just want to be happy, but to actually learn from them. The second is being able to step out of them, so they're data, not directions. What can I learn from them, but not allow myself to be pushed by? Third, who do I really want to be in this situation? What are my values? What's the heartbeat of my own why? And then lastly is I need to actually move that forward. So there are 4 critical aspects to emotional agility that move us out of our heads into the life that we want to be living and the world that we want to create.